Hi, I'm Buddhika. I would like to refresh your knowledge about e-commerce and machine learning. Also, I'm going to give you an idea how to start your own application using Azure Machine Learning Studio. E-commerce has new trends these days. You have noticed it. If you think about past 10 to 15 years, e-commerce is not that much powerful as it is today. With this e-commerce application, people can buy almost anything online. Vendors can go to the doorsteps of their customers, consumers, within seconds. Behind the scene, vendors and end users having close relationship on buying and selling. Sellers know that their customers is looking for, so they sell it, giving promotions, etc. To make it possible, there are few trends coming up with this e-commerce. Now you see there are chatbots chatting just like a person to make it the end user experience is more grateful. SaaS is a ready-made solution to any vendor to have their own webshop within minutes. Smart home devices also can order something from webshop and online that should be integrated with the webshop. Near future, face recognition may come as an authentication factor for e-commerce website. So that should consider. By finding buying and search patterns of a user, we can make end user or consumer experience more personalized to him, and we can give more promotions, more offers according to his buying pattern. Virtual online shopping becomes a really reality with augmented reality. Most of these cases, ML is more important behind the scene. It's playing a more important role behind the scene. As a beginner, first of all, we will see how to getting started with Azure Machine Learning. Hope already you have an Azure account created with you. If you don't have, don't worry. You can create trial account. It's free for 1 month. For this experiment, we need to create a Machine Learning Studio workspace. To do that, you can search for Machine Learning Studio Workspace or under all services under Machine Learning, you can find it. I already have created one for me, so let's continue. Once you click Launch Machine Learning Studio, you will see there's an experiment tab. In my case, you're seeing it. To start new experiment, you need to click the new button in the bottom, and once I click that, in my case, I'm going to choose a blank experiment. My scenario is using a data set related to vehicles and cars. I'm trying to train a model which can predict the price of the car for the given feature set. Finally, I'm going to set up a web service from this trained model and consume it in a console application. To start our experiment, we need to have a data set. You can have your own data set if you like, but in my case, to keep it simple, I'm using one of these sample data sets. Left menu uh, under Save Dataset, you will see samples, and I am going to choose automobile price data set. and I'm going to drag and drop into a gray area and right click data set, visualize. You will be able to see your data set. If you noticed, uh, some of these columns have missing values. So we need to clean it. To do that, we go to data transformation, manipulation. I'm going to select the columns that I only need to have in my data set. So I'm going to drag and drop column selector. Just connect it to each other and launch column selector. I just need to remove this normalized lost column, and I just need to have all the other columns in my dataset. So I just left it over here. Now, if you see my dataset, we have to run it first. Now, I don't have that normalized lost column. If I'm going to check the other columns as well, I have few columns which are having missing values. To get those clean, I'm using go to data transformation and clean missing data. I'm going to drag and drop that. And if you see your right hand side, that there are a couple of cleaning modes we can select. In my case, I'm going to select remove entire row because it is about 2-3 rows that uh, having empty values. That is not causing much problem for me. So now if you visualize your data set, you will see a nice clean data set. But if you notice that number of rows getting reduced because we have removed some of the columns, and it was 26 columns previously. Now since we have left one column behind, so it is 25. Now what we have to do is we have to split the data set and train the model, and also evaluate the model, score the model, and make it complete. So as next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop split data, and I'm going to connect these two, and I can set the fraction of rows that I'm going to make it 70% for the training model, and to evaluate model it's 30%. So I'll make it like that, and let's see. Yeah. Once it getting splitted, if you visualize, you will see 135 rows has been uh, in this selected in this data set. The other 30% is goes as the second data set, which is we are going to have an have as an evaluation data set. So what we're going to do is now we're going to train the model. In order to do that, under machine learning, we have train. I'm going to use train model. Now we need to connect the data set to train model, and also we need to have an algorithm to train this thing. So there's a cheat sheet which we can use. This is the starting point. Since I'm going to predict some values, I should go over this branch, and according to my selection that I just need to have the linear regression. So you can go through this thing and investigate and get a more idea about this thing, this chart. So in my case, I'm going to use linear regression. So I'll be using linear regression model. To do that, under machine learning, under initialize models, regression, I'm just going to drag and drop linear regression. Yeah, you can do some adjustments if you want. I'm not just going to do anything. And I'm just going to connect this to train model. You can see the train model that it is showing right side red exclamation mark. So it says that it needs to have a value from the column selector, and I'm going to give it since my prediction is about price, I'm going to give the price for the selection. So now let's run this. Now so far so good. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to score my train. Now we need to score our model. So under machine learning, under score, we have score model. So I'm going to drag and drop and connect this train model to score model, and I'm going to set the second data set to the score model from the split data. And next step is I'm going to evaluate my model is how far it's the coefficient comes. I mean how far it's accurate. So I'm going to connect this one and run this. Let's give it a minute. Now it's ready, and if I'm going to view the results, it's you will see some of the statistics over here. The coefficient value determination is 0.9.1. That means 90% is accurate. It is kind of a good value. So let's see how do we publish this train model as a web service. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this predictive web service. This is recommended. So it will take some time. Yeah, now it's done. If you see these things, I'll make it a little bit clear and a bit closer to them. You will see some of the components that we dragged and dropped has been gone, but now two new components has been introduced: web service input as well as the service output. Yeah, we can rename it if you want, output as well. But what in my case, I just leave it like that. Uh, it seems like my web service is ready. Now I'm going to deploy that. It will take some time. Once you deploy, then you will see something like this, and you'll be having this kind of set of information. So you can test it. Yeah. Uh, if you notice that there's a uh, navigation menu called that consume. So it's all about how to consume this service, and you'll be seeing a couple of keys over here and the request and response URLs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sample console application to consume this service, and if you go a little bit down on that page, the consume page, that you will be seeing a couple of lines of code that we can just copy and paste and use it. Just do as exactly as it is saying, so that will work. So same as the thing I have done. Yeah, I have already created one of my console application, and yeah, I just copy and paste that code. Now we'll see whether it's running or not. Yeah, you'll be seeing this output is coming. If you change one of these values out of here, I mean let's say for an example, if I'm changing that horsepower, number of horsepower, it's about 150. That should give some different coefficient value. You see. Yeah, it is for 14,455, something like that. So that is it's working. And if you need to you need to do more experiment on this one, just use ML Studio and do a couple of experiments and see. So one more thing I just like to mention, that if you want to deploy it as a web app template in Azure, that's also possible. It will be ending up like this, something like this. Just a matter of we will be having some this kind of a form, and yeah, the predictive result is the price is something like this. That's also possible to use it like this also. uh, Anyway, this is myself. You can catch me on these links and URLs. So thank you. Thanks for watching.